Hello, we made it through the portal. We are here. I'm going to
We
turn on the
are.
comments. Hello to everybody who's arriving. We do have live chat open tonight. This is not a pre-record like I've been doing lately. Okay, so feel free to say hi, drop comments, participate. We're just dropping in. We're waiting on Anthony, but we're going to just go ahead and say our hellos and
Hello.
with you all and set the tone. Give people an opportunity to drop in. And
Yeah.
tonight we're going to do something special. We're going to do a reading where we all participate in building this Celtic cross to gain some insight into how we can move out of the dark and step into light, just very much in harmony with that winter solstice we have coming up on the 21st. And we're actually entering a really positive time, you know? We really are. Hello, Tila. Nice to see you. Oh, I'm so glad you decided to join. I'm so glad you decided to join. I did an event earlier today. I did like a dance ritual conversation with the
Oh,
cards with
yes.
Eva Galunches.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Tila was part of that, and so wonderful to have you. Thank you for dropping by.
Of
So
course.
yeah, we're just gonna do like a reading and we're gonna build it. It's for the collective, okay? It's for all signs. And we're gonna talk about how we can move out of some of the heavier states we can find ourselves in during the holidays, right? And
Yes.
me and Miss Lizzie, Miss Strega Lizzie over here,
Hi.
my cohort, we always usually have a little drop in to just say hello and kind of do a check on what's going on, and then we dive into the fun stuff with all of you. It also
Mm-hmm.
gives people a little chance to check in. So, you know, we're gonna just
Yes.
eat up a few minutes here as people arrive. So, how you been, Lizzie, with everything that's been going on?
It's really heavy right now. And um it's really heavy. It's really heavy for a lot of folks right now. And I think that that's really important to get across for the collective is that no, you're not crazy. Yes, it's super heavy. And it's okay. It's okay to not be okay. These are things that I'm also exploring within my own healing journey because, as as we've discussed, with certain paths comes certain things. There's a lot of trauma that we have to work through. Even not trauma, just your own shadow work and your own bullshit, as we've talked about before. I know that for a lot of people, this is a really traumatic time of year, even though it is consistently set as the most wonderful time. Happy, Merry. No, for some people, yeah, for some people, it's really hard. And there's a lot of trauma associated with the holidays. Um, and that can be difficult to navigate, whether you're witchy or not. But if you're witchy, I feel like it is because you feel and because we feel. And we feel more than just our own feelings. We feel the collective feelings. We feel the earth's feelings. Yes, the earth's feelings. And it's a lot. It's a lot. So how do we reconcile that? How do we bring in the light? How do we burn our Yule log, whether it be digital or real? Um, I thought I had the thought. I literally thought to myself, "Ooh, I wonder if YouTube has some like fire Yule log thing that I can put on the background." I logged into YouTube, and it was the first suggested video. I didn't say it out
Oh,
loud.
that's perfect.
I thought it because I know that yes, sometimes when we say things out loud and our phones are always listening and everything's always listening, um, things pop up. But no, this was a thought that I had, and I went to execute that thought, and ta-da, here we are.
You
So
hacked the algorithm.
yes, exactly.
You hacked the
So
algorithm.
it did.
Yeah.
You know, so I did, and I haven't been paying attention astrologically wise, but I realized that Mercury's going retrograde for the very
Yeah,
beginning of the year.
it is. But you know what? This is actually a good Mercury retrograde because of the positive aspects that are coming in. And
Mm-hmm.
we'll definitely talk about that because I want people to feel the positive momentum that's building. There's definitely this expansion that we're moving into. And what we're all slogging off right now is all the heaviness from the Pluto cycle we went through, where we were really doing that deep dive into integrating our shadow stuff. It takes a lot, right, for Persephone to claw up, claw up back to break through into life again. And that's what we're in the process of right now. It's almost like I have this vision of Alice in Wonderland being down that rabbit hole. And if she had to scurry back up, to get
Mm-hmm.
back to her life as she knows it. It's not something that's an easy climb. And a lot of people have been trying to pull themselves out of the heaviness of that energy because it
Mm-hmm.
was with us all year, along with
Yeah.
Chiron retrograde in Aries, where it's all about the wound of the self, right? And then we had
Mm-hmm.
so many Saturn square Uranus meetups, which creates total lack of stability, the rug being pulled out from under you, experiences that you're not expecting that can be destabilizing and also require you to really acknowledge where you're being tripped up, where you're not being accountable, and what you need to do to correct that.
Mm-hmm.
It's been a heavy year of working through pain. It's been a heavy year of having to take accountability, really reflect on yourself, your actions, your choices, how those all come out in balance. Because it's been a very karmic year. We just closed that cycle. We just closed that cycle. We do have Mercury retrograde coming in, but it's in Capricorn. And it's the first
Mm-hmm.
Mercury retrograde we've had this year where it starts in Capricorn and it finishes in Capricorn. So Big
Mm.
Daddy Saturn is with us the whole time to help us go over old ground with fine tooth comb,
Mm.
really look at the areas where we can recognize we've fallen short, where maybe we didn't apply ourselves in the way that was called for in certain situations, and that's why we didn't make it on, and gives us an opportunity to revamp our routine, uh, change our foundation, tear down foundation in some cases, decide to do. A lot of people will find the projects they're working on for a while, they're just all of a sudden going to scrap it. Like, I'm done. I decided I'm not going to do that anymore. And I'm doing this. And because we have that
Mm-hmm.
Uranus influence in the mix, the rebel in the
Yeah.
mix, it's been there all the
Yeah.
past year, people are rebelling. They're rebelling against the confines and the structures that have kept them in a place of not feeling fulfilled, of not feeling seen, of not feeling heard. So there's a lot of revolutionary energy in the mix, some really positive aspects coming in, but it's a heavy time of year. And we just
Mm-hmm.
work with a lot of heaviness. A lot of people have challenges meeting up with family because of family dynamics, history in the family. It can bring up a lot of difficult feelings around the loved ones that are no longer with you, or where you've
Mm-hmm.
had conflicts or falling out with people that you love. It highlights more the separation because this is supposed to be this time of togetherness, and everybody's supposed to just be positive and be in this really good space, and they want people to be social and out and about. Some people just really feel like being alone, and
Mm-hmm.
that brings in the piece I want to share, my blip about my personal check-in, and that's that about 12 years ago, when I was going through my divorce, it was right before the holidays, like right before the,
Mm.
and holidays were already a difficult time for me, and classically had been a difficult time for me. I always had a blue Christmas. I was always melancholy during Christmas. It made me think of
Mm.
people that I missed and also loved ones that were no longer around. And so I always felt kind of depressed, and like the hope never really matched reality. You know, it's built up to be such this high, such this magical togetherness and love and beauty, and it always fell flat from that. In fact, it only highlighted things that were dysfunctional, things that didn't things that needed to be addressed and needed to be healing. So it was kind of like a time in the year when I always felt like salt in those old wounds, you know, and it just, I didn't enjoy it. And I went through a period where I just said, I finally made the decision. I'm like, I'm no longer participating in Christmas because it's about Yule for me, which was really a moment of stepping out of the broom closet and understanding I didn't want to participate in the superficial, like materialistic aspect. I really wanted to bring it back to what it was all about. But when I went through my divorce, I went really low. Like it was a huge time of depression for me, and I was really struggling. Um, I just didn't know how to feel like it was worth hanging around with where I was at, you know? And I needed some kind of hope or some kind of reason to move forward. And at that time, I like got my spiritual guidance came in, and spirit was like, we know that you're in pain, so go out and alleviate other people's pain and you're going to feel better. And so I came up with this tradition that I called fairy godmother, and it was inspired by Brian Brown, master of fairy. You know, he has this wonderful fairy world. And in that deck, he has the fairy godmother, and he talks about the spirit of just giving to others, just out of the generosity and spirit of giving without need for any acknowledgement or any kind of attention or any kind of reward. And said, actually, it's better if you give to people and they don't even know who gave to them. That this is really where like the magic is. So I decided to make a new tradition, and it was no longer about Christmas and celebrating the traditional way, but I was going to go out and do things like write little hopeful messages on scrolls and put ribbons on them with a little note that said, if you find this, this is for you, you know, and I scattered messages all about town, angel cards all about town, and hid things in places where it gave people an opportunity who were just like me at that time, little hope, a little ray of hope, something to hang on to find it. And then they would be able to feel like maybe there was a reason to keep going. You know? And I did this, and I had the most amazing experience. My heart feels so full, and I got to witness, you know, from afar, I got to witness, you know, some people finding these things and their reactions. And it really made me understand that when you feel like you have nothing to give, and like there's something about this, like it's almost like a yoga, you know, to just go out and just give another, and how interconnected our energy is, and that when we give in that way with no expectation, it like it comes back to us instantaneously. So that's what I'm steeped in right now. I'm focused on trying to call in the light. It was a challenging year. There's been a lot of shit to wade through. And I'm doing my fairy godmothering and really like pushing forward this week. So I just want to invite everybody out there. If you feel called to participate in this, you want to know about this, I do have a Facebook group. It's called Fairy Godmothers, and it's spelled Fairy FAERI, Fairy Godmothers Incorporated. You can go ahead and you can send requests to join the group, and I will gladly include you. So if you want to be part of kind of bringing hope into the world, it doesn't cost a thing. It just requires some creativity, and the spirits just want to try to bring some magic into life to support everybody that's like, you know, going through the blues, having a hard time at this time.
Yeah. Yeah. That's lovely. That's lovely. No, that's interesting. It's interesting. Because as a child, for me, Christmas was very magical. And it was very, you know, it was these big, lovely, you know, there were there were a few not so great Christmases um, that were not great in very horrible ways. Um, but for the most part, my parents really did try to keep it together and try to give it. And unfortunately, I had the opposite into my adult years, and it was just some of the it was all gone, and it was just like, well, fuck, what do I do now? You know, I unfortunately was with someone who was staunchly against Christmas, and even into my paganism, I thought, okay, great. We can rebrand it as Yule, and it'll be great, because when I did convert and I did start celebrating and honoring the Sabbaths, Yule became something different, and the magic became something different.
Yeah.
And you were able to bring light on the darkness and able to say, you know what? Man, it's been a really dark year, because I'm sure our ancestors, especially if you're Scandinavian, when that tree was cut and then brought into the center of the village and burnt, and we feasted and celebrated and gathered, we talked about how hard the year was.
Yeah.
We talked about how hard the winter was. You know, to swing to the Roman Saturnalia, it was debauchery and a release of everything by embracing the more darker aspects of the self and our sex and our sexuality and and creed and class and all of that, exploring all of that, and giving into the more darker aspects of that. But then we have Christmas, which has forced this, oh no, you have to be happy, you have to be merry, you have to be joyful, you have to be joyful, it is the Lord and Savior's birth. Okay, whoa, it's really not though, but thanks. So it being able to not have to celebrate in the compulsory joy that I feel, because people are like, you're not happy, it's Christmas. No, I'm not. I'm not. It's in the middle of fucking winter. We've been in a pandemic for nearly 3 fucking years, and um, there's just a lot going on, and things have always been going on, and war has always been happening, and all of these horrible things have always been happening, but it's more magnified because we refuse to see that it's there. I mean, I don't really like to talk about celebrities, but two very positive, happy celebrities have committed suicide within the past 3 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
That's horrible. That's devastating. And we refuse to, I'm seeing conspiracy theories of, oh, they were murdered. No, no, no. We have a really horrible mental health problem as a society, and men specifically are taught not to be sad or depressed, or taught to regulate their emotions or speak on their emotions. And so no, we are, unfortunately, as a collective, feeling everything, and it's heavy, my friends. It's heavy.
It's unfortunate too, because bro culture like totally reinforces that programming is like so outdated, and that corrupt file needs to be trashed already. It's a shame, and I see it happen so much, that like conflict within men, where at one point they feel like they don't have support systems, like it's not okay for them to communicate how they're feeling, is not acceptable for them to show any level of emotional vulnerability I've seen the way that they struggle with that and the way it causes them a great deal of pain and inner conflict. But then on the same point, that same person that feels like they're held back in that way, you can see, them turn around. It's like when the bros get around, it's like they're all talking shit about guys who are able to show their emotions or reach out for support. So it's kind of like there's so much healing that needs to be done, but it depends on the individual level. So I'm really proud to know some men that are like doing the work and that they rep themselves fully out there and they do it in such a way that it's like there is nothing. These men are like emperors. You know what I'm saying? Like they are in their power and they are in their strength and they are able to express themselves emotionally. And there is nothing about it that looks wimpy or weak. It's like the opposite. It is so it is just such a positive thing to see. And I'm seeing these men pay it forward, in their communities. These are men that are also doing work within their communities where they're really helping like the younger brothers coming up to step into their power and understand that it's okay to open up. It's okay to say, I need help. So, so much in deep admiration for the men that are doing that work because they're having to be really fucking brave. They're really like breaking through an old paradigm and they're taking the risk to put themselves out there. It takes a lot of courage and they're really doing some good work in the world. So despite all the challenges, I try to focus on that stuff too at this time, like how many people are overcoming, so much that sort of is stacked against them. And the human spirit has the ability to really rise above so many challenges just by tapping into the source of what sustains us. So the more we can create communities like this, whether it's online, I think coming into 2023, the energy of the new chapter opening, it's so essential that people start to learn how to use these tools like social media in an empowering way where they really can become a network of transformation if we all can like hold our peace in how we choose to exercise our voice in the world. Like we speak things into existence. So there's so much power in that and what we can create and creating safe spaces like this, like on the Hedge, where it's like wherever you're at, no matter where you're at. And I just want to, because of that, like, it's Broad Coven here. So there's all kinds of people with all kinds of beliefs that tune in. For those that do have Christian faith, I think that they deal with their own sense of pressure because for them it's what is meaningful for them. But they kind of feel the pressure of like the consumerism that's involved at this time of year, right? Where it's like it's all about the gift giving. It's become this thing that's centered around greed, and it's not really about togetherness. It's more a marketing opportunity. And there's something that's, the heart of what it's supposed to be about is like kind of lost in the fray. And I think people feel the fakeness. People are waking up to what's fake. They don't like what's fake. They want something real. They're hungry for what's real. And so I think there's a lot of people that feel very disenchanted and just disconnected at this time of year.
Yes.
And should we look into how we can pull out of the light and
absolutely
pull out into the light?
Yeah,
let's do a Celtic cross. I really enjoyed it when we did that last time. Anthony must have had something come up with his daughter for her birthday.
Yes, I'm sure.
Saying he might not make it, but
and I haven't gotten any messages, so something must have gone longer than he anticipated, and that's okay.
Yeah, and it's okay. We did tell him if he didn't make it, us two broads could handle it on our own. That's right.
That's right.
That's right. That's how we roll. We improv here. We don't get anything locked in and loaded. I think we got beautiful new beginnings coming because I see on the split of the deck, we got the Ace of Pentacles there. Spring's going to be a really good time of year for us. It's going to really be popping off in spring. That's when we're going to see our manifestations come through. But let's first shuffle for what the current situation is, you know, that we're all struggling with collectively. What's kind of feeding into those holiday blues? What's the crux of the matter, the significator of the situation? And what we need to kind of like reflect on or become aware of so we can move forward in this cycle. All right. Oh, I'm sorry. I got to laugh. Look what I got. I got the Hierophant in reverse. So I think it's like people wanting to buck tradition, right? They're just like, hell no, I'm not wanting to take part in these traditions. These traditions aren't feeling they're not feeling like my source of connection. I'm feeling disconnected through adhering to these traditions. I want to connect in a real way. I don't want to buy into the consumerism. I especially feel like that's something that's really on people's minds this year, just with everything that's going on with the uncertainty in the economy and how media is also feeding that, what's coming up for people around that security, where I think people more than anything are feeling a lot of stress and pressure with the holidays. They're wanting to buck their traditions and, you know, maybe look at making your own traditions. Like I brought that fairy godmothering in. So I feel like there's this piece, like, if you're in a position where you're like, I really can't handle going and having dinner with the family this year, or I feel like what I want to do for the holidays is I want to go somewhere in nature and just, you know, chill out by myself, relax and have some time to clear my head, or I just want to take the time to nurture myself, take a nap, eat some nourishing food, do a Netflix binge because it's been a hard year and I just want to close it out with some rest and repose. I say buck the fucking traditions. Like do what you need to do to support yourself and feel good. The people who love you will understand, you know, and if they don't, that's a them problem. That's not a you problem. And you know, you might need to kind of ruffle some feathers. You might need to kind of challenge some authorities, you know. You know, mom can be an authority sometimes, dad can be an authority sometimes. They want you to show up and you know,
just
I don't know, invoke a little bit of your rebellious teenager, you know, let the teen. What?
We have the five of wands here. And the five of wands is about that fucking conflict, man. This is about either starting some shit or knowing when not to. And knowing when, whether or not this is a battle you even want to fucking fight. Like, you know, we really do try to do what we feel needs to be done and not what we want to do, especially when it comes to family, because of course the holidays are about family. And there are some people that are like, no, I don't. So don't. You see here, hopefully you can see, there's like 2 trees in the background here. This is the very first deck. This is the first tarot deck I ever purchased for myself. And when I went up to my decks tonight and said, okay, who wants to fucking talk tonight? I got this one. And then I got my fairy deck. So, you know, of course, the fairies are like, hey, we need the magic. But no, you know, and I like that this interpretation of the Five of Wands is not showing the whole knockdown, drag out. It's showing the before. You have a choice. You have a choice not to participate in the shenanigans. And it's okay to make that choice. Thank you.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. I think it is about bucking tradition this year. I think it's about working with some of the out-of-pocket energy that's in play, which, you know, we do have one thing that's a little challenging, and that's on solstice. We got the sun is square Jupiter, okay? So Jupiter, when it's positively aspected, is like sugar daddy, you know, brings all the good stuff, gives you all the blessings. But when negatively aspected, as we do in a square, and with the sun, you know, coming back with the return of the Sun King energy on that day, we're looking at things being illuminated and what's going to be illuminated. You've got like the spotlight coming on. You got Jupiter in a difficult aspect with that square. And what it ends up creating is overinflated egos, you know? It manifests that kind of emperor in reverse energy where it's my way or the highway, people butting heads, you know, getting too big for your britches, popping off, you know? And so there's definitely, let's be real, like if you buck tradition, if you pull a curveball, some people are not going to be happy about that, you know, but at the end of the day, you know, when you're in a situation where you feel like you're going down, you're having a hard time, and you know what you need to do to take care of yourself and support yourself, and it ain't that, you got to put on your air mask first, you know? So you're going to just have to ride that out and hope that people can understand, you know, maybe you can agree to like meet up after the holidays or something. Like, can I just get through the holidays and then maybe we can go out to breakfast together, you know, we can drop in then and have some quality time. It's not about this. We don't have to only drop in once a year, right? So
no, we don't. We really don't.
No, we don't. Okay, so let's look at you know, what's crossing the situation? What's working for or against the situation? What's kind of what are we up against in our efforts to move to the light? Oh, come on now. I got a whole chunk came out. And they were all in reverse. Oh my gosh. So I'm gonna have to formulate this. So you might need to go first on this one so I can piece these all together.
Okay. Okay. So we have the White Lady. The White Lady is pretty much like she, within certain Celtic traditions, she's the opposite of a banshee. She's still a ghost. And it's still not the greatest thing in the world to see the White Lady. However, she does bring about the change that you are seeking. So, and behind her is a river. I really wish you could see. Behind her is a river and a waterfall. You can't stop water from doing what water does. Water is going to flow, whether it flows continuously or it is an object of destruction, because a lot of people tend to forget that water actually erodes and corrodes and is just as big of a destroyer as fire. We think fire is a bigger destroyer, but water plays the long game. Okay, thank you. Play the long game. I don't know who needs to hear this right now, but you need to play the long game, and you need to really, yes, be water, but in the sense of wearing down your enemies. You are not to go fire, full blast. No. You are to be transparent. And maybe just a little scary. And like I said, I don't know who needs to hear this, because most people, ghosts are scary. Seeing spirits are scary. And especially within like Celtic and Irish tradition and Scottish tradition, seeing the spirit of the woods is not necessarily a good thing. That generally means not good shit's coming your way. So maybe you need to embody that. And you need to let people know, I'm fucking terrifying. And I will win, because the water pounding the rocks, that mountain ain't gonna be there for that long. Those rocks ain't gonna be there for that long. So play the long game. I just feel like somebody needed to hear that. Thank you.
I mean, erosion, right? Erosion carved the Grand Canyon, okay? So it works more subtly, more quietly, you know? Of course, Gotta have Strega Lizzie bringing the spice. I like it though because it also works with like the enemy within, you know, the enemy within. But you know what came up for me when you went on that channeling train, it made me think of the way we have like our inner saboteurs or shadow aspects, and in order to really be able to overcome that, you need to be able to make that subconscious conscious. And it's a more subtle erosion process of wearing away those things inside. You know, we sweep under the psychological rug that have a power to sabotage us, that you can't necessarily call out in typical ways, or you know, it just doesn't work. You have to meet it on its levels, and that does require a certain subtlety, a certain listening, a certain sensitivity to energy. It's interesting because I got the Six of Swords in reverse. So I feel there's a lot of you who are like, I don't want to travel right now. For those of you who have relatives, family, you know, at a distance, I don't want to travel right now. I don't feel safe traveling right now. Some of you have kids and you're just like, you know, it's a big hassle to get the kids all together to go on this trip. You know, it's going to cause me more stress than anything with all those swords, you know, in the barge with her and her kid. Also, I feel like there's a piece though that's coming along with this that's causing a lot of anxiety and a lot of stress about, you know, bringing this forward and saying, hey, I'm not going to make the trip this year. And I think it's guilt. You know, there's this like this feeling of obligation. Again, it's like bucking those, you know, traditions. There's this feeling of guilt around it. I also see that people are really like worried about their security right now, their financial security. So they're not wanting to spend money on driving here, there, everywhere with the price of gas. They're not wanting to dip into money. We learn things are unpredictable, right? Things are unpredictable with the economy, right?
Yeah.
And so, you know, because of that, you know, there's this issue with people don't know what's coming next. We don't. We don't know what's coming next. So people aren't really wanting to get into this whole consumerism thing this time of year, and that can be very stressful. I'm going to just put it bluntly. People also aren't feeling the love with Two of Cups in reverse.
Right. Well, and
people
it's
are
funny.
like, I just want to be alone.
That you've mentioned it, because the White Lady is about guilt. It is about betrayal. You know, one of her stories is that her lover went away to war and she betrayed him, and he came back and he killed her. And so now she's constantly wandering the moors and wandering, looking and, you know, wailing, and the guilt and the shame and the not wanting to deal with it. So don't.
Right.
So don't.
Right. And so it's like this, like, I don't want to, you know, I don't want to have this togetherness right now.
Yeah.
I just want to be quiet. I just want to be still. I just want to have some time to be in my own energy, because I feel like a lot of people, with the dynamics that have been in play over this past year astrologically, with the Mars opposition Venus dance that's been going on, this push-pull dynamic for like ever, which is the love war energy that's prevailed over 2022. It's a lot. You know, people are just wanting to be able to sink into their own energy at this point and feel some sense of clarity. We also moved out of a big eclipse cycle. So we're now just at the point where a lot of stuff is coming to light that we couldn't see before. And this is even more reason why people are wanting to be on their own. We've got the Hangman in reverse. So it's like you're delaying the inevitable. You know, you don't want to go. You know that you are not down for this. You don't want to make the trip. You don't want to spend the money. You're not feeling like hanging out with people. Okay. So you just act on it. Stop putting it off. The delay is creating more anxiety in you. Again, there's this image of like not wanting to deal, okay, with the financial loss. You're like, I'm going to go broke if I go away for the holidays, if I go and participate in tradition of consumerism is what it boils down to, you know. And I also see this as, you know, turning the money piece upside down, because Nine of Pentacles, when it's upright, what is it about? It's about connecting with simpler pleasures. It's about connecting with nature and pleasure in other things. So maybe, again, propose some more simple traditions. Maybe that's the piece that you need to talk to. Each person's situation is going to be different, but you might need to say, like, what if we just didn't do gift giving this year? Or if the gifts were just for the kids, and instead us adults could just like hang out and enjoy each other's company without that pressure. So there's ways around things. We also see Emperor in reverse. Okay, so a lot of you aren't wanting to deal with dad. You're not wanting to deal with dad, or some other strong masculine figure in your life that is really an authority figure who likes to throw their weight around, likes to have things their way. You might find it very difficult to be around this person. They're very argumentative, and you always feel stressed out after you've hung out with them. And we see here we got death to the Ace of Cups. You know that if you go and you do this thing, when you walk away from it, you ain't going to feel good. You're going to feel totally drained, and you're going to wish that you didn't do it, that you didn't go. So I feel like there's a lot of people that rather than just being honest and communicating and saying, I'm not going to do this and I want to have my own tradition this year. And it has nothing to do with not wanting to spend time with anybody. It's where I'm at right now. And I may continue to be at this place. I don't know. I mean, that's what I did. I toyed around for a couple of years. I was like, I like to have a quiet, Yule where it's reflective in harmony with winter for me. So and to this day, I still don't go. But I feel like if you're feeling this way and you're not wanting to participate, you gotta take action. You can't just keep torturing yourself, muddling over the decision. Just, get it done and you're going to feel a lot better. And then you'll be able to sink into maybe finding some enjoyment at this time of year. Okay. All right. So let's look at what's crowning this situation. What's kind of, what's on our mind? What's on our mind in this situation at this time of year with the holidays collective? Judgment. Y'all are worried about the judgment, You're all worried about how people will judge you if you don't take part in something you don't want to take part in, You're worried about how people will react to you for once showing up for yourself and doing what you need to do to take care of yourself. You're afraid of, what might be said around the dinner table as they're passing that gravy boat. But, it doesn't really matter. You'll feel so much better if you just, stand up for yourself. And I also feel like that judgment card is coming out as like a confirmation of everything that's been brought in thus far as well,
Mm-hmm.
If you go to that dinner, they're going to bring up a bunch of old shit that you don't want to talk about. Somebody's got a family that they keep bringing up old shit. They don't let sleeping dogs lie. And it's just such a stress. It just causes so many arguments and problems. This person's like they're blowing the horn. Oh, let's wake up this dinner party. Remember when you did that back in 1983? There's somebody going off like that. Somebody really stirs the pot, in the family too. So that's going to come in. And somebody's got a relative that really judges everything they do, tells them how they need to live their life. It's like the dinner is a big, big lecture. Christmas Day is a big lecture and how they're screwing up their life. So, I say free yourself from that and just do what you want to do. Do what feels right for you.
So I have the Knight of Wands, and my knight, he has masks on his back. So he has two separate masks. Notice how you can't see his face. If you don't, and this goes back to what you don't, who cares about what they think? Because you know that when you go there, you're going to have to decide which mask you want to wear, which is never fun. And you are constantly the one throwing your shield down to go across that chasm. There's a crack here, and his shield, which should be at his back, but it's not, because he's had to throw it down to cross. His horse looks so fucking done, dude. His horse even looks done. Like, why are we doing this when we know we don't like what's on the other side? And see how he has his wand up, almost in like a surrender. Like, okay. I'm walking. I'm not moving. Don't. That's the second wand we've had. And in this deck, they look like clubs. So don't. He has keys on his waist, which, if he was smart, he'd use them. And then there is this room that he's not going to that has a shield up against the wall. So again, you are choosing to leave your protection, what you really want to do, to engage with folks that may or may not cause a whole bunch of bullshit drama. And I didn't even, going back to the first card, look at it's a pope. It's a pope. That Hierophant earlier, man.
What? It's that Hierophant.
So again, you know, it's okay to say, you know, I just need this. I just need to do this. Yeah. Is it? Yeah, it is. And that's all. Yeah, no, that's it. Thank you.
And just because you do it now doesn't mean it's how it's always going to be. You know, it might change, but whatever, you know. It seems like there's really this message coming in about like people need to start being real, you know, and talk about what togetherness means for them really, and how they want to connect with people, and maybe not engage in things that feel artificial to them, right? Let's look at the foundation of the matter. What's the foundation of all this that needs to be addressed, needs to be looked at? Show us how things have been in the past that's causing. Okay. Oh, I see.
Same.
I got 6 of Pentacles in reverse. It's right. So I see that a lot of people feel like at this time of year, they're the ones like that have to take up the brunt, you know, of the work. They're the ones who always host the holiday dinner. This might be for a lot of the moms out there, you know. You're always cooking everything, and then you're cleaning everything up. You're the last to eat by the time you sit down. Your food is cold, okay? Because it's not always the kids that want to beg out of the holidays. You know, sometimes mama gets tired too. Maybe she wants a day off to be pampered, you know. Maybe she feels like she never gets help, you know, that she could use some help in holding down the fort for the holidays. People don't often think about that, you know, they take that for granted, what grandma and mama does to, you know, put on a good holiday celebration for everybody. So I feel like there's this piece too about, as much as you might feel, I'm a Libra, I got to look at the devil's advocate side here too, okay? So as much as people might feel like they have issues with their extended family or whatever, at the same time, there's this need to not be selfish, you know? To not be selfish, and also to be mindful of, you know, the effort that is made, you know, by maybe people that you do feel like you're out of sync with a lot, or you can be at odds with, but how are they trying to make an effort, and understanding, like we brought in that love languages thing before, like everybody has a different love language. And for some people, like maybe that have a difficulty connecting emotionally, maybe they don't say I love you, maybe they're not very demonstrative of the way they feel about you or your connection, but maybe the way they show love is by like cooking you up a nice meal and like, really lavishing it on, and tending to you in that way, caring for you in that way. So I feel like there's also this piece of sensitive if you are pulling out of these situations this year, or you need to give yourself more space or do things differently, maybe not engage in the gift, whatever. I think there's also this need to be sensitive to the feelings of the people you're talking to. Don't be so like justified in your own position that you can't understand how the others are feeling as well,
Mm.
put it forward to them delicately and just say, I know how much you put out every year to ensure that we all have a good time. And I do really appreciate that. And this is not in any way, an insult to you or anything about our relationship. It's just where I'm at right now. I feel like there's this need to take emotional accountability that you're at where you're at and not like put it on your family members and other people, and helping them really understand that and do appreciate their efforts, to try to connect. But you're just needing something a little different at this time of year. And somebody is really feeling overburdened. I'm also getting that somebody, oh, this might only be for like one or two people, but I'm gonna bring it in because I'm getting a lot of sentience about it. I'm getting this one impression too that there's somebody in a family where, they're pretty well off. They do well for themselves financially. The rest of their family, maybe has some financial struggles. The rest of the family never wants to hang out with this person. Like they never make an effort at any time of the year to kind of be around them or engage with them or make a connection. The effort always falls flat. And they only want to connect with them at the holidays. And they feel like when they do come around, they're like footing the bill for everything. And so there's almost this feeling like they feel like used and taken advantage of. So that's somebody's foundation. They're just like, I don't feel like it. I'm even really appreciated because I'm here. It's just sort of like, what can you provide financially? Can you foot the bill for Christmas for us? That's kind of what's coming forward for me there. But I think a big part of this is, understanding that sometimes people give, and they mean well, and they may struggle in other areas. And we deal with, multi generations during the holidays, right? Okay. So we have to understand that some people are very set in their ways and they have their traditions too, and they have their attachment to doing things the way they do. So I just feel like there's this need to have a little bit of sensitivity on that part so you don't come off like a spoiled brat, if you're like begging out of your family's holiday festivities, that you really stress and let them know that it's not that they've done anything wrong necessarily in cases where that applies, just that you're needing time for yourself.
See, and that's really interesting because the cards that I pulled, Triamore is a fairy lady. And then we have Morgan Le Fay, again, another fairy lady. Two actually very powerful but very different women within the Fey folklore. So Triamore was a beautiful lady that will give her lover anything and everything he wants, including all the gold in the world, as long as he keeps his mouth shut, that he is her lover. And I feel like that's going back to what you say about the wealth, is she takes that away in an instant. The second that he outs her and tells somebody, oh, well, I got a fairy that fucking gives me all the gold in the world. She gives me all the riches in the world. And she says, oh, nope, no more. I'm not doing that for you anymore. So again, it's back to one, knowing your self-worth. Obviously, that is so coming through very hard right now. And not being blinded by what people can give you. Whereas I feel like Morgan Le Fay's coming in because she was the most taken for granted and betrayed ever, in my opinion. Her brother betrayed her, chose Christ, and essentially caused the downfall of the Celts and Avalon and made England a Christian nation, to where Excalibur went into hiding, never to be heard from or seen again. Avalon disappeared into the mist, and the Christians took over. So, not to, yes, to bash Christianity, because I will always bash Christianity. Sorry, not sorry. Who I am. But again, the mother figure, because in certain aspects of the lore, Morgan Le Fay took care of Arthur. The Lady of the Lake took care of Arthur as a child. Avalon took care of him. The Merlin took care of him. These people took care of him. And he gave it all away for a pretty girl who betrayed him in the end with his best friend.
But
So, not saying that the mothers that we're talking to, but my love, my darling, if you're feeling like nobody appreciates what you are doing to make this holiday the very most, call it out, man. Again, back to the first card. Picking your battles. This is all about picking your battles. This is all about not laying your shield down to walk across that chasm. And this is about calling people out on their kind of bad behavior, too. I mean, to bring Santa Claus into the mix, what does he do? What does he do if you're bad? You get coal in your stocking.
It's true. It's true.
Maybe, just maybe.
Are you naughty or nice?
Right. Maybe, just maybe, as a laugh, maybe, put some coal in your husband, wife, kid's stocking. And then go, maybe somebody needs to think about something. Just saying. That's all. Thank you.
No, it's true. It's true. And I mean, there's been a lot of people behaving badly, especially over the past few years. So, and things are really divided, so that's part of it too. But I think that the biggest thing that's really coming in, and also with the astrology, all right, the astrology fully supports this because of what's going on with Mercury. And I feel like this is a good time to bring in what's going on with Mercury. First of all, today, while we're doing this, while we're having this conversation, we had Mercury trine Uranus. A trine is one of the most positive aspects you can get. So that means through communication, we can come up with creative solutions. Mm-hmm. It's about doing things in a different way. It is about bucking tradition. Uranus is the rebel. It doesn't do what is traditional. It bucks the system. It goes with the unconventional. So there is this piece here, coming in very strongly. And it's about having these conversations, right? Let's talk about the elephant in the room. All right. Let's not step around it anymore. Let's not set up the fondue station around it. Let's actually have a discussion about it and just be real with each other. I mean, if we are supposed to have this much togetherness at the holidays, maybe it's time to kind of like look at things in a different way. If we are supposed to have that much togetherness, isn't togetherness really dependent on the ability to connect with each other on a real level? Because otherwise it's just false bullshit. It's just social posture. It doesn't really mean anything. So, hey, let's get real with each other. And no, let's not reserve it. Let's not hold it inside, then sit at the dinner table with the family where somebody ends up popping off because they're so pressurized trying to hold this stuff in instead of just being mature, emotionally mature. responding to what's coming up and saying before the festivities, hey, this is how I'm feeling. This is where I'm at this year. This is what's coming up for me. I want to talk about it, you know? And coming from that heart, you know, coming from a place of love with it and speaking your truth, being in your strength, being in your power. It doesn't have to be all one way or another. And like you said, there's all that wands energy, right? So we don't need to fuel the fire. And when there's fire, you want to bring in your water. You want to come more from your emotions. You want to come more from your softness. You want to come more from, like you were talking about, like gently erode away up to this situation. And some of those positions can be like stuff, right? Again, we got, you know, Mercury sextile Neptune. Okay. And that's coming in on the 24th, Christmas Eve. Okay. So a sextile is also a positive influence. It gives us creative ways to get around situations, creative solutions. It gives us the ability to be more creative. And with Neptune, even more so. Okay. This is Neptune is water. Okay. So this means really diving into that creativity, allowing your emotions to be forward and really bringing them forward in communication. I will also tell you there's a lot of healing communications that are going to come through this holiday season. And maybe that healing you've been wanting to have with that family member or that loved one where you feel there's distance, maybe it involves you being brave enough to be real with that person and really showing them where you're at. You got to give people the benefit of the doubt. You can't automatically make other people enemies, right? And then we have Venus sextile Neptune that's coming up on the 28th. Again, most positive influence. Love takes on a dreamy quality. This is like soulmate reunion energy. Soulmates, not only in the form of lovers, but it, ooh, that just split. Whoa. My deck jumped in my hand, open to the strength card. Okay. So this is like the past coming back around, an opportunity to move through experiences in a new way. So we got a lot of this energy coming in very strongly. And then finally, we got that Mercury conjunct Venus that occurs the same time as Mercury retrograde in Capricorn. So with that, we got Mercury conjunct Venus. Again, it's positive. It's speaking from the heart. It's speaking words of love. It's speaking words of healing. It's taking the risk to be open, to see a new point of view. And we get a chance to review, to go back and to get things right this time around. So Ted just said yes. He shook his head yes. So that's a really positive energy. And I'll say bottom of the deck energy, this may be coming in very strong for fire sign collective. We have the King of Wands, so Aries, Leo, Sagittarius energy working out there, all right? Definitely got, and again, it's also speaking to the masculine, the active aspect. Like you got to take the action though. That's what's required with that Wands energy. All right, so let's see. We looked at the foundation. Let's look at the recent past and passing. Like what is on its way out that has recently been on our minds and we've been focused on in relation. The Empress. Wanting to just luxuriate, wanting some time for pampering, wanting some time to just indulge and enjoy yourself, to just be in your own energy. That's very much what the Empress is about, okay? So that's where you've been thinking about wanting to just be in your own energy and just enjoying yourself and relaxing, enjoying the simple pleasures of the season, right?
And we got Temperance, baby. So
oh my
really
gosh.
just to you know, hey, you know, and again, it's the going, see, here's that water again. It's that moving it back and forth, focusing on just I'm not asking you to keep the peace. I'm asking you to keep the balance, because it is not up to you to keep the peace. I really feel like somebody needs to hear this right now. It is not up to you to keep the peace at the dinner table. It is not up to you to center or regulate the person that always stirs that pot. Because this is for the person that's always sitting at the dinner table going, oh God, here they go again. Oh my God. It is not your job to keep the peace. So don't. All you need to do is keep the balance, keep your head, keep yourself, keep the little ones. Somebody needs to hear this right now. It is okay to be a grown ass adult and sit at the kids' table. It is okay. Because you know what? The kids at least will, one, be so excited that an adult is sitting at the table with them, like not ironically. Two, we learn so much from children if we allow ourselves to be educated by them and to allow ourselves to listen to them in the moment. So yeah, sit at the kids' table. And again, going back to the judgment, if somebody says, why are you sitting at the kids' table? I figured I'd just, I don't know. So yeah, it's okay. You don't need to tell people why you're sitting with the kids.
Or you could be a smart mouth. You could say better conversation.
Exactly. There you go.
Really
there you
stir the
go.
pot.
Yeah. Yeah.
Really stir the pot. But I mean, at the end of the day, it's all about the kids anyway, right? It's their time.
Mm-hmm.
It's their time. It's not, it's not about the adults. It's their time. It's their time to have fun. When did it become this thing of like keeping up with the Joneses? That's not what it's about. It's not what it's about. So,
I don't even know.
It's in a weird way. It's sort of like, flip that tradition on its head. Like, how far have we strayed from the original intention of what it was supposed to be about anyway? If you really want to be traditional, then be traditional, because what's going on now where you got people fighting, fighting in the store over the latest, it toy, to get their kids, and that's what's on the news. And there's a problem. We've really gotten kind of far away from what it's supposed to be all about. Let's look at the future. Okay. Let's see what our potential future is, with the way things are going here. Let's see. How can we call that light in? Help us see our way to that future. What we can call that light in.
So Jill, you're going to be sitting at the kids' table this year is what I'm reading. Am I talking? Yeah, go sit at the kids' table. It's all good. If I had a big family and there was a kids' table, I would, and if my family was that way, I probably would. My dad's a pot stirrer, so I'll have to contend with that and just be that. Ooh, who's that? On their side.
I got the Two of Wands, but it came out like as a crossing influence. So I feel like you all are like riding the line. Like you cannot straddle the fence. You got to pick a side. You got to decide what you want to do. The reality is, I feel what I'm really getting here strongly is that if the collective that is struggling at this time of year, that's feeling the sense of heaviness, if they would really just respect that and speak their truth about it and do what they need to do to take care of themselves this year, then they could look forward, in a whole different way. And they wouldn't have to feel as heavy as they feel right now. A lot of what they're feeling is related to the social pressure that's coming up for them and everything that brings up emotionally in them. It's like it's impacting the heaviness they already feel. So I feel like what's also creating this stress is like straddling the fence. Like, maybe I will, maybe I won't. No, just make a choice. Make a choice. Choose what you want to do. Take the action, and you'll realize that you've actually created a bigger drama for yourself than you needed to, and it will relieve the pressure. And then you can actually have this time of giving to yourself, enjoying the day however you want to, and you're going to feel a lot different moving forward. You don't have to end every year in a state of like a deep depression and feeling totally depleted, right? You can enter the new year in a new way with like, what? Feel really good about myself. spoke to where I was at. I did what I needed to do to support myself. I don't have that same heaviness, all that burden that I normally do after the holidays. I feel a little bit better about stepping into the new year. You can shift your experience. It all boils down to your choices. If you're not like this, don't be wishy-washy. Don't be wishy-washy. Not with Juan's energy. Like you got to make a decision. Make a choice.
We have the boogeyman, which, hi. Hi, making a choice. Hi, avoidance. Hi, everything that I don't want to think about. Hi, me avoiding the fact that actually there's a lot of trauma surrounding the holidays for me. And I'm speaking to the people that refuse to see that maybe, just maybe, this time of year is super triggering for them. And I know that word gets used a lot, but it should, because it's a thing and it's real and it happens. You know, people have had some really horrible things happen around this time of year. And again, it's that, oh, I'm going to be happy, 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 because it's Christmas and it's happy and I'm going to be happy, forgetting that you have this horrible, horrible, horrible monster that's in the closet. Maybe somebody does need to come out of the closet. I don't know. Probably. Anyway, that's a different, that's for a different time. But acceptance, and it goes back to accepting and seeing things as they are, and again, not giving into the pressure of trying to celebrate. Don't give into the pressure of being happy. If you're not happy right now, don't fucking be happy right now. And be honest with the people and say, you know what, man? I just had a lot of memories resurface. I just had a lot of shit come up that I am just having a really hard time dealing with. It's something I had to admit to myself very recently. I was in a panic attack in a state. When I say panic attack, and people think that panic attacks are, I can't breathe. Oh my God. No, a panic attack is feeling anxiety. Yes, there was a day where I really could not breathe. But my body was on such fucking high alert. And it was really, really bad. And my therapy session, you would have thought that I had just started therapy, because I was shaking and crying and incoherent and just a fucking disaster.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what? There's a lot to work through, because there's some trauma from childhood surrounding this time of year for me. And there's some trauma in my adulthood surrounding this time of year for me. So my body, of course, was like, we're not safe. We're not safe. Oh my God, we're not safe. And that's not true. I had to recognize something was going on with me. I got a boogeyman and I got to work through it. And when I expressed that, and when I felt it and I accepted it and I saw it for what it was, I was fine. I mean, it's still been a very heavy, hard week, and I've still been very emotional, but it's been a lot easier to navigate and deal with and be honest. And I found that when I was honest and told people, no, I'm not okay right now,
Mm-hmm.
they responded in wonderful ways.
Yep.
And really made me feel safe and okay. So, our boogeyman's, and funny, the border, look at the border. It's all holiday. It's all holly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Hi.
Mm-hmm.
Hi. Hello.
Yeah,
Sorry.
and there's that piece that a lot of people also don't consider too, that in some cases, like people go through endings in relationships and then the friends get divided up, and people who are, going through processes of divorce, the family gets divided up. There's people who had, there's a loved one die this year. And so there's that death, that absence to deal with. It's not the same. And it's one of those things where it's like, be kind, because you never know the battle that somebody is facing. And I think there is a need to, invoke a little bit of that kind of like traditional, cheesy, goodwill kind of vibe. It's true, because we need to give people extra room at this time of year, because people are dealing with some difficult things. It isn't a happy time for a lot of people. And some people have really, like you were saying, charged emotions around it. And they do better just being on their own. And there's not even, and I do want to speak to this, because people often have a weird relationship with people wanting to be alone. Like, people think, oh no, it's cause for concern. And yeah, sure, people can isolate, and it's okay to check in on people, but if somebody is assuring you that they're like, no, I just really want some time to myself, I think it's so unfamiliar for people to not understand independence. They think that everybody has to operate out of this codependent dynamic, and it's not true. Like, being alone, spending time alone can be very enriching. It doesn't have to mean that somebody is in a really bad way. They may be processing grief. They may be experiencing difficult emotions, but that doesn't mean they're in a weak place. And actually, they may be in their strengths, and just make that request down that boundary and say, I know what I need to heal right now. So I need to carve that out for myself. So I think that piece is important too, Let's see. Let's look at what's the advice as we move into the future? What is the best course of action for us to take with all of this? Okay. I love it. It came out before Ace of Pentacles.
Oh, yay.
So this is like, propose a new option,
Yeah.
Propose a new option. Grow what you want to grow. Invest in what you want to create for yourself. Take the action that ensures that you're getting a return for your investment. So if you feel like the biggest return you're going to get is by having some time alone, or maybe to go off to your cabin in the woods, in the mountains, and enjoy some skiing, or whatever it may be, like, let yourself have that experience. And I also feel like this is also a point of, be mindful of, tending to your finances too. And if you are going to participate, don't feel this pressure to spend too much money, because what you're investing in right now, you need to be investing in what you're building for your future, not worrying about impressing people with the gifts that you're giving, or anything along those lines. So I feel like it's just talking about, invest where you really want to put your energy, and don't just do something for the sake of, well, this is what we always do. It's really about aligning with your energy with what you want to create for yourself. And if you do, it looks like a positive result, positive experience.
We have the star, which is hilarious on so many different levels, because we have the Christmas star. We have the star that the wise men saw that brought them to the sweet baby Jesus. And we, within Italian American tradition, the star and the star in the sky is associated with Strega, with La Befana. And La Befana is an Italian witch. And La Befana was riding on her broom when she saw the wise men, and she was all, hey, where are you going? And they were like, we're going to see the baby Jesus. And she was like, I don't want to do that. And they were like, okay. And then she went, oh shit, I do want to do that. Oh my God, it's the baby Jesus. But she couldn't find him. After that. She lost out on her opportunity.
Oh, wow.
So her so she, in her repentance and in her way of trying to make up for the fact that she missed out on an opportunity to be one of the gift givers of the Messiah, the Son, returning, she goes and flies around on her broom, either on Christmas Eve or on the day of Epiphany, which is January 6th. And she gives children presents. The naughty ones that didn't listen, like she didn't, she gives them coal.
I love it. I love all the symbolism.
So I've always looked at the star as embracing your truth and being that guiding light, that northern star to guide you back home. What is home? It is establishing your own traditions, like we've been talking about all night. It is okay because everyone is always like, oh, it'll be fun. I missed out on being one of the gift givers to the Savior. But did she? Did she? Because she holds such an important role now for children, because it's all the rest of the children that aren't Jesus. So she still plays an important role in our traditions because she went against the grain. So it is okay to create your own traditions. It is okay to look at the wise men and say, you know what? No, you go ahead and give your gifts to the returning son. Because I'm going to go pagan with this because, I'm sorry, not sorry, but your Jesus was not born in December.
No.
But more the sun does return.
More
right,
likely
exactly.
He was born in the harvest season.
Right.
I mean, and we know this, right? Like, the fact of the matter is, the fact of that, I grew up, in a very strict Christian religion, but the religion I grew up in taught me that all of these holidays have a pagan basis. So
yes,
I always knew that. And it's like, all this symbolism is pagan symbolism. So that's the whole thing for me that's so interesting. It's like, can we all just get on the same page? Because we're all just celebrating the same thing. We're just like putting it through different filters, to make us comfortable with how we're celebrating it. But it's like it's all the same trip. And you will see that if you study, if you do any research into different cultural beliefs, it's the symbolism is all there. Cross-culturally in every spiritual tradition you can imagine. And that I love that. I love that piece of it because it's actually like the signpost to like what connects us all at the end of the day. We're all actually more alike than we think we are different, and I so wish we could all do that, like focus more on our points of connection. That would be my holiday wish, that we all focus more instead of on what divides us, what really connects us, because that's what really empowers us. And I love that the star came in because the star is like, no, if you're going through a dark time right now, if you're depressed, if you're really struggling, if you're in grief, it promises that the light's going to return. Yes. It promises you that there is a light at the end of the tunnel, and it's not an oncoming train. It is you emerging on the other side out of the ashes and into a whole new potential. So please, if you're struggling right now, please do reach out for support, but also hold on to hope, because there's hope. You're going to get to the other side. It's inevitable. Just notice nature. It may go through times of darkness, but the sun rises again. The light will return, and that's the promise, and that's the promise of winter solstice. We go through the longest, darkest, night of the year, and we stay up all night in pagan tradition so we can welcome the return of the sun. From this point forward, the light continues to build. And I really feel this year, even more so than in previous years, that tradition has a certain potency and power this year, that the light is really coming
Mhm.
in a very big, bold way. So
Yes. And I had originally pulled the star, and then I was like, no, 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 that's too. And I reshuffled, and it said, no, 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 I will be heard.
exactly.
So, so yeah.
All right. So let's see. Let's give people a little sense of hope. Now let's look at the next spot, which is how are things going to look in the environment of the future? So for those people that feel like things aren't going to get better right now, let's take take a trip in the DeLorean, but let's go from the past and jump into the future now. Let's see where are things going to be, in the opening months, in the opening months of 2023. Let's give people a little bit of a snapshot of what the future holds. What will the environment be like in the future? Just so they have something to kind of hold on to keep them going if they're struggling with some difficult stuff right now. Ah, I love it. So, I got two cards came in here, both in the upright. We got 8 of Swords coming into 3 of Wands. So
Woo!
what this shows me is the only thing that's holding you back is yourself. You think you're trapped in this cycle, that you're never going to break out of it, that it's always going to be this way. I'm always going to be stuck here. Nothing's ever going to get moving. I'm never going to get out of this place. I'm feeling like a lot of people feel stuck in a particular place, like an actual physical place. Maybe they're wanting to move on from a relationship or wanting to move on from a living situation, or they're wanting some really stuck situation to gain momentum in their life. Like they kind of feel like they've been held up at the crossroads. Again, I feel like a lot of this is coming from the head, like you're too in your head. You're not dropping in enough into your body and really feeling out what action needs to be taken. Like as soon as you are able to connect with what's holding you back from taking the action you need to take and find the bravery to just sort of like do the damn thing, you free yourself. There's a promise. You just can't see it right now, you're blind to it because you're too stuck in your head and you're ruminating on your thoughts, thinking about all the things that are causing you trouble right now, right? And it's like a self-created prison. And none but ourselves can free our own minds. Like Bob Marley said that shit, and he was right, because the reality is this is what's coming in for you in 2023. This is looking out on the horizon. You're saying like, holy shit, my ships are actually coming in. What I wanted to see come into my life is coming in. There are new things for me. Things are getting better. I have opportunities coming my way. All right. So there's this need to kind of get out of the head, stop ruminating on things so much, So I always tell people that one of the best things they can do if you get really in your head and you're stuck in your thoughts, things you can do is just move your body, okay? Put on some music and move your body. Just get the energy out of your head and put it into motion. There's something about this that helps kind of just like clear the cobwebs out. And also, you get a nice endorphin rush when you move your body. So it helps like raise the serotonin. It helps you feel a little better. It gets your lymph moving, which gets your emotions moving. So instead of being in your head, you can drop into your heart a bit, get the emotions to release a little bit, open things up a little bit. You just can't see this right now because you're stuck in your thoughts and you keep telling yourself it's always going to be this way, but it's not. You're in a temporary situation. And very soon, within the first 3 months of 2023, you're going to see a turnaround. Things are going to start coming in for you. The energy is going to free up. You don't feel stuck anymore, So that's definitely something to hope for. It shows that where you've really put energy forward to try to, bring some positivity into your life, where you've tried to see some growth in your life, where you're trying to manifest new beginnings for yourself. It's coming in. It's on its way. Opportunities are coming in. So hold out, man. Hold out.
And I I love that because we have the Kelpie, and within Celtic folklore, it is a water fae that disguises itself as a horse near water, so that way you think the horse is about to go into the water and it lures you into the water. So again, we started with the white lady who was all about the water and
Mhm.
all about playing the long game. Here it is. If you rush, you are going to be in a situation that you do not want to be. So again, there are people that, and I'm going to say it again, you've got to play the long game. Do not rush head first into anything that you, because you don't have the full story. You don't. Wait. Do we like waiting? No. Does waiting make us really nervous, especially with the instability of everything? Yes. But I am telling you, look, do you see this horse? Do you see this dead horse at the bottom of the water? Yeah, no, no, no. Look at the top. Let's go with the top, which right now is like, yay! Look at this beautiful, radiant, sparkling. And it goes back to what you were saying, hold the faith, keep the faith, keep the vision. Eyes on the prize, folks. Eyes on the prize.
And don't settle for that instant gratification.
Mm-hmm.
Hold out. And that you bringing that piece in, that's really significant because it jarred something for me. It jarred like a little download for me, which is about, we got all this like soul family reunion, right? And in some
Mm-hmm.
cases that are there, you are going to be navigating like people coming back around from your past to have healing exchanges, communications. In some cases, it's just about closure. In some cases, it's about people wanting to open a new chapter, maybe redefine the connection or revision it. You're going to have these opportunities come your way. And what I would say is, yes, open up to the experience, okay? Because there is so much positive energy that does support a really wonderful outcome in terms of even if that's for closure, just being able to shut the door in a way where there's no loose ends, where it feels good, it feels complete, you feel heard, they feel heard, and it's like a peaceful resolution to those places where maybe you're like, yeah, let's invest in this again and let's look at this a new way. If that's the case, what I would say is it's okay to entertain the conversation. It's okay to have the exchange and then say, okay, I've heard you. Thank you. I've received this. I hope you received what I brought forward. And now let's take some space and just let this kind of like sit so we can feel
Mm-hmm.
how, where we're at with it. And then we can talk at a later date and maybe go the next step further. So it's okay to pull back and not feel like, oh my gosh, I have to take this opportunity right now because if I don't take it right now, it's not going to be here. No, if it's meant for you, it's going to be there. And
Yep.
like you were saying, like have the long range view, right? So it's like if it is meant for you, if you're meant to move forward with this person, this situation, and if it's playing a role in the new cycle for you, then it will it will sit with you in those spaces where maybe it's a
Mm-hmm.
little uncomfortable to kind of put it on hold. So you can do it in a way where you're really putting that solid foundation in place that something can grow from instead of just going with that impulse, right? It's a horrible time to take action right now. Like, don't take any impulsive actions right now that could radically alter your entire life, especially with Mars retrograde. It promises disastrous results. Just wait. Just wait until Aquarius season. Aquarius is going to bring in Aquarius is air, but it's also the water bearer. So it's this
Mm-hmm.
interesting dichotomy. But Aquarius is associated with the star. Okay, so funny that that's tying in, but it's like we got all this Earth energy in the mix. We got Capricorn seasons about to start. We got the
Mm-hmm.
Capricorn retrograde. So it's like let that water come in, that water bearer come in and nurture that earth, so things can grow from it and allow that space and time. You need the space and time. Don't feel like you got to rush anything. All right. And anybody who tries to rush you, I would really fucking question. if they're trying to push when you're like, I need space or I need to digest this, that would automatically be a red flag, you know?
Mhm.
It's really important to set up a good foundation for any connections you're going to consider bringing back from the dead in your
Mhm.
life, you know?
And thank you for saying that, because somebody needs to hear this right now. Yes, there is a potential for them to drag you down with them if that's what you've been feeling in certain situations. Because what does the Kelpie do? The Kelpie grabs you and brings you down into the water to drown you.
Yep.
So yes, there is some danger.
And
Don't,
you'll,
not everything is as it seems. And if it's too good to be true, it fucking is.
and it's so important, like read the room, pay attention to the energy. If you're feeling nervous, if it ain't energy, don't lie, okay? So if you're feeling activated after you have an interaction, like you need to take some space to sit with that and understand what's coming up. Because you know, a lot of people worry about like projecting old trauma, but it's like, no, you're recognizing something that's familiar to you, and that's why you're feeling activated. So give yourself the grace to kind of sit with that and process it before you
Mhm.
move forward. It is important. You know,
Yes, it is.
don't lose your head, you know, just to go all with the heart. We're really being called to marry the two, build a bridge between the two, and work with
Mhm.
instinct, where we got the intuition going, but also the intellect. We don't forget the
Yep.
lessons learned. So we went through hell with the Scorpio cycle, with the Pluto deep dive. So we can't lose what we learned. Hey, man, it's like the Kelpie took us down with that Scorpio deep dive into the subconscious. Like, we don't need to get dragged back down there again. Remember the pearl you gleaned, you know, from all that grit you went through, all that soul grit. Okay.
Yep.
Um, all right. We got two more cards to pull. So we got hopes and fears. What are the hopes and fears
Well,
for the collective in stepping into the light? Because sometimes it's harder to step into the light. Sometimes we can get comfortable in the shadow. It's really easy to stay in that place because it's familiar. So what's the hopes and fears around stepping into the light, stepping into the hope, you know, opening the heart, thinking it can be better?
mhm.
Um, Ten of Pentacles in reverse,
Mm.
you know, that's that fulfillment of togetherness, right? We look at the
Mhm.
Ten of Pentacles and we see like two people building together, you know, they're creating a life of abundance together. So again, there's that feeling of um, maybe there was a big loss around this. You really had the lack of togetherness highlighted in your life. And so because you've had to deal with a lot of separation or letting things go or feeling this division within your family or with your lover, whatever it may be, there's this fear of kind of like opening up to the light again because maybe you went through a situation. I'm getting this like maybe you went through a situation with a lover where like it was a situation where it's like, you know what? I got this lesson, you know, like it was a lesson you'd learned 50 million times before. And the last time you thought, I finally got it. I'm never going to be in that situation. And then here comes along this Pluto cycle, dredging up the past and all your past patterns in the shadow. And you're like, wait a minute. I just created the same thing for myself all over again. Okay. So you might be doubting yourself a little bit right now. You might feel like togetherness is something you can't even open up yourself to the possibility of because what you know right now is a sense of being cut off, you know, a sense of
Mhm.
division, a sense of always like investing and seeing it come almost to that place of fruition and what you hope for, and then the big letdown, right? Like the big disappointment. I didn't get it again. You know, same lesson. Not so close, but it's still the same lesson. Okay, but you know, there's a need again to really understand all the work that's done. And let's say, when it comes to togetherness, there's always a risk. There always is. And you can never control how other people are going to move or how they're going
Mhm.
to react, what they're going to say, what they're going to do, what their choices are. all you can do is, run where you're at, and make decisions based on your own integrity, your own inner truth. And so, in a way, it's also, I see this as kind of like giving up that control, giving up the control that other people are going to give you that togetherness that you seek. And instead, it's like, get yourself together, get yourself to that place where you feel connected inside. And then from there, you'll be able to create connections from a different place than you have in the past. But, you got to take the risk. And in some cases, this is people maybe with that connection that comes back around for somebody. They might want to take the risk, but they might be remembering how it went last time. So they might be afraid to take the leap, because what if it turns out the same way? Well, only you can weigh the risk versus the reward. And those themes are very much in the mainframe, especially as we're entering into 2023. Again, I feel like it just comes to that place of paying attention to how you're feeling, going through the experience, taking the time you need, and especially in a healing process, being really conscious of what your past experiences have been, but also, giving the opportunity for growth. Because if we can't believe that there can be a possibility for growth or healing, then what the heck are we all doing here in the first place? You know what I'm saying? I know that I've grown as a person. I know that I've healed things as a person. I know that I'm not the same person I was 20 years ago. So we have to also be able to create a little bit of an opportunity for others to have that same kind of grace too. I think it's really just about not getting locked into our ideas, not getting too ahead of ourselves either. Some people can sabotage themselves with their expectations by thinking this thing needs to be my end all be all. It needs to turn into the 10 pentacles. Okay. Well, don't set yourself up. Let things evolve organically, flow with your experiences. Don't try to push the river, and just enjoy the experience of discovering what it is about, And I think that things will flow a lot better in that regard. We can kind of like get out of our own way, you know what I'm saying?
So, our friend the Hierophant's back, but he's reversed.
Just like he was for me.
So, hi. Hello, hopes and fears. I am trying to recall the quote. There was this Russian film called Night Watch and Day Watch. It's fantastic. But basically, there are good others, shapeshifters. They dwell in the light. And then there are the dark others who dwell in the darkness. And one of these people that he's the leader of the dark ones, he talks about how, yes, the light ones are the good ones, but literally the light casts on everything. Everything is out in the open. There's nowhere to hide in the light, so everybody thinks. But what does the light do? It casts a shadow. So really, who is worse? The people that dwell in the shadow always embracing the darkness, or those who are always the light and refuse to see the shadow? That's basically what he says. I'm probably butchering the quote. It's a 2 movies. It's called Night Watch and Day Watch. It's absolutely fantastic, visually stunning. But it really kind of like, I was like, no shit. Yeah, it is a very valid point. Light bringers, the light, they always cast a shadow. What's in the shadow? What the light doesn't want to see, and what the light refuses to see. It always just sees shining brightness, kind of like how we started today. Happy, happy, happy. We're so happy. Me and mom and dad. We're a happy family. We're a happy family. So, no, it's not. It's not always happy. And sometimes Sometimes you meet a group of people that say, hey, we're going on our way to go see the rising of the sun. And you're like, no, I'm cool. And then you go, oh, fuck. That probably wasn't the best move. I probably should have gone to greet the sun. But Lobby Fauna she regretted it, but she took her regrets and created something beautiful from that. Created her own tradition. So don't be afraid to learn the hard lessons. And it just keeps coming through. Don't be afraid to just sit back and be like, no, I'll wait. It's cool. I'll wait for the next bus. I'll wait for the next airplane. I'll wait for a different job offer. I'll wait for a different apartment. I'll wait. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay to wait.
You know, when you said that about the shadow and the light, it made me think of that quote, the brighter the light, the darker the shadow. And, you know, that's so true. And you can look at it in a multitude of ways, but it also makes me think of that star card that it's like, if you've really been going through like the darkest time of your life, wait until that light returns because it's going to be so bright. It will be blinding for you. You know, there's just so much on the other side of that. There always is a big level up. It's like that wheel of fortune, you know? We're all on that wheel of karma. None of us are immune to that, despite what you might hear out in tarot land with everybody talking about karmics all the time. We're all karmic, okay? Newsflash, we're all fucking karmic. You wouldn't be here. You wouldn't be in a physical body if you didn't have karma. We're all here to do work. We're all here to grow. We're not perfect. We're going to make mistakes. We're going to have to learn lessons. And we often learn lessons through other people. They're our mirrors. They reflect to us things that we have a hard time seeing within ourselves. They help us look at the places that are activated. And even our most difficult connections or our most difficult experiences end up being some of our biggest blessings and our greatest teachers because we are able to experience a level of healing we couldn't otherwise, and it sets us free. And from that place, we step up into a whole new potential in our life, and so many opportunities come forward for us. So many blessings come forward in us. Why? Because we're finally in a space where we can receive it, and we couldn't before. So if you've been going through a really dark time, you know, that can be like almost like a little new seed to plant in the mind, like, you know, the brighter the light, the darker the shadow, just to remind yourself that there's going to be a time when you're going to be on the other side of this and you're going to look back and you're going to go, wow, I really remember when I thought there was no hope and like I couldn't continue to go on another day, and look at where I am now. You know, there always is the other side. What goes up must come down, vice versa. Sometimes we're riding the high at the top of the wheel, just like a Ferris. Other times it's running us the hell over, and nobody's immune to it. We're all going to go through those times in our life, but it's how we move through them that counts, you know? All right, so let's look at the outcome. How is this all going to turn out? Final card. Let's get a summation. Thinking about it. Come on, collective. What you gonna do? How's it gonna turn out? Okay, finally got a flipper. Y'all need to get it together, collective. We got the Queen of Swords in reverse. Woo! Oh my God. Queen of Swords, and I think there's a lot of people that are more angry than anything right now, like raging for order. This is air sign collective, okay? Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. I feel like this is sort of like this is, and I'm going to pull a Doff pack on this one, okay? So let's just see top of the deck. What are the next three cards? So I want to see what's on the other side of this. This is something that's going to take a while to work out. It's something that's going to take some time to balance out. There's emotions that need to be balanced out. There's a lot of people feeling a real sense of disappointment that something that they put a lot of time and energy into did not turn into that 10 of cups like they thought it would, okay? They're really in their feels about this. We got water sign collective 2 here, okay? Cancer, Pisces, Scorpio. We got Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. This is coming up really strongly for. Right now, you're just trying to find your balance after being through a time that really felt very unpredictable. I feel like emotionally, you feel in terms of love and romance, like it's just two ships passing in the night. Like, I think you're really struggling with something that happened in a connection, and you kind of let yourself get cold. You might be too defensive right now. So what I would say is there's a need to work this out. There's a need to go beyond this feeling of being so guarded. All right. Like you're going to have to start with making yourself feel secure, though. I think there's like some suppression of truth. This is what's coming forward for me because that Queen of Swords is all about the truth. So if the Queen of Swords is in reverse, she's pissed off because she feels like she hasn't gotten the truth. She feels like truth is being withheld and that something is unjust. And that's what will make the Queen of Swords go into reverse and get really harsh, you know? I mean, I'll always have, you know, words of support and defense for the Queen of Swords. You know, I am a Libra, okay? So, but I'll be the first to say when air sign collective goes cold, they can go cold like no other. They can completely fucking detach. So I feel like there is this piece going on right now. There may very well be some people that you do need to completely cut off, and maybe you need to be comfortable with that. Maybe you know that it's not an okay situation, and you really shouldn't entertain it. You might need to, like you were saying earlier, Lizzie, you might need to you know, call forth on a little bit of that war Venus energy, you know, where you're like, hey, you know, I'm going to speak my truth, but probably with the Queen of Swords coming in reverse like that, it's going to be pretty cutting, you know, doesn't mince words and can really cut to the core with the words. I do suggest trying your best to bring this into balance if you don't want further drama. Would be a good thing to do, but I feel like people are just really down right now. It's sort of like I got this like, you know, I need to see the proof. You know, enough of this. Look, there's this need to recognize on the bottom of the deck energy. We got the world, okay? So something needs to be brought to a completion, I think, before this feeling is going to be freed up, and there can be the understanding that yeah, that might have been a really raw deal. You might have been done by somebody, then you're really processing that. You've been processing it all year. This is a successful completion. Cutting this off actually is good for you. It's in your best interest. And on the other side, Ted just said, yes, you'll see something better. Yeah, I think there's going to be an offer that comes your way. 4 of Cups. You know that this doesn't lead to anything fulfilling. You need to turn this down. It's not what you're looking for, okay? And you need to stop focusing on a situation that was supposed to be a celebration that turned into, you know, nothing but empty promises, because spirit is trying to bring you a new beginning, but you can't see it because you're too focused on what went wrong. You're too much in anger. You need to let your anger out, air sign collective. And that's for any strong place. Sun, moon, rising, Venus, North Node, or packed house. Okay, so that's a lot of people. And I think a lot of people are dealing with these kind of emotions, you know, feel like they got left out in the cold. They feel like they got abandoned. They feel like they got ripped off. Okay. And they feel like they really got stabbed in the back with the 10 of Swords. But we need to remember with the 10 of Swords, you got an end of a cycle. And it doesn't get worse than this, all right? So after the 10 of Swords, there's always a renewal. There's a new beginning. And there's also, with that 10, there's 0. And 0 is gifts, spiritual gifts. So there's something that comes to balance the karma in this situation. We know this is the truth because what comes next? Ace of Swords. You'll see this happen in the winter season, okay? December, January, February, you will see this. The truth will be revealed. And you will come into a place of having your turn of fortune with that wheel of fortune. There's that 10 again. There's the beginning of the new cycle. It's upright, so we know it's good. And it leads you to what? It leads you to the Fool, the beginning of a brand new cycle, a new sense of optimism, and heading away from all this shit that has you down into a new lightness of being. And from there, you're going to charge forward passionately. And you're going to know exactly what you need to do. You may even, in some cases, have a declaration of love coming your way, okay? And with this Knight of Swords energy, movement forward out of this place of the Queen of Swords in reverse to actually taking action. You're going to know what you need to do, and you're going to be decisive about it. And you will get that movement forward. And I'm just going to do one cut of the deck, and then I'm going to let you bring in your piece, Miss Lizzie. Cut of the deck energy, the Magician. There you go. Initiation, the start of the new cycle. Opposite side, look at that. We got a new beginning here. Knight of Cups, again, water sign collective, Cancer, Pisces, Scorpio, bringing forward an emotional offering. All right, so it looks pretty good, but I have to say, there's this piece that's really coming in for the collective here. Y'all got to melt the resistance that comes from staying in the spaces of any unresolved anger you have. These things staying attached to the way you were done dirty, it's only going to hold you back. It keeps you from moving your energy forward. So if you need to create a letting go ritual for yourself, or if you need to start picking up some exercise to move that excess energy out of your body, or maybe you need to have that tough conversation, you need to tell somebody off and then block them, whatever you need to do, you need to do it to move yourself out of that energy. Once you do and you close that cycle, it's nothing but a building of momentum and success, and you get your start. That looks good. But you got a little cold. You're acting a little bit like a cold bitch right now. Got to be honest.
No,
understandable.
So we have the Two of Cups, and I really enjoy this interpretation of the Two of Cups because one, homie's trying to like nail down that wheel, but he's also not paying attention to the fact that his lamp oil, which is currently lit, is attached to him. So I feel like this goes into the resistance. And also, my interpretation of the Two of Cups has always and will always been that this is your soulmate card. The Lovers is not for the soulmates. The Lovers is that toxic love, that's lust, that's maybe, and lust is not toxic. It's just lust. But this is your soulmate card. Soulmate can mean many different things. Yes, it can be a person. It can also be yourself. It can also be the joining of your own soul, your soul mating with its higher self and its higher purpose and its higher attention. And then I pulled an oracle card and we had resistance. What up? Why are you resisting this? Stop trying to resist this. You're like the dude that's, okay, so she's got her big chalice that's full, and then she's trying to balance it on her knee, and homie's like, I'm going to nail this wheel down. You can't nail a wheel. You can't stop the wheel from turning. You can't. And you can't balance this big giant cup with all these fucking oranges with all that abundance. I'm going to hold the abundance, but I'm not going to embrace the abundance. I'm not going to take the giant cup and hug it and embrace it and tell this dude, stop trying to nail this shit down. Stop. Let the wheel turn. It's almost as if all of this is stopping her from getting up from where she's seated to move on. You've got to move on and stop trying to resist and stop thinking that everybody is out to fuck you over.
Yeah.
That's not. Have you had experiences in the past? Yes. Have you been horribly disappointed? Also, yes. Has it been soul shattering? Yes. But that doesn't mean it has to be again. Doesn't mean it has to be again. And maybe you should stop trying to hold a giant stone cup filled with, I don't know if those are tomatoes or oranges. I don't know. I don't know. But, and maybe
It's
just
a Bloody Mary.
Right. And maybe just try to tell the person. And also notice how they're not looking at each other.
Mm-hmm.
There's no communication.
Mm-hmm.
For those that are going to get that declaration of love and that person to coming into your life, you need to be very, very open and honest and let them know, I am a triggered fucking hot mess. And I am going to resist whatever it is you're trying to bring me, not because you don't believe you don't deserve love, but because of my past experiences. I'm going to do my very best not to project on you, but that doesn't mean I'm not going to do that. So, honesty with oneself, honesty with the other party is going to make it as successful as it should be. And
yeah, it's
again,
that get out of your own way energy. It's that you're in the eight of swords. You've created a prison for yourself, and that prison is in your mind. And in that prison, every day you make the rounds of all the bad shit that happened to you, all the people that did you wrong, why they're wrong, why you're right. All these, and it's all based in wounding at its heart, right? The swords arise because of wounding, and there's this need with that Queen of Cups energy that came into like, you got to come into the emotional, the emotional needs to be addressed. And sometimes when we get wounded really deeply, that combativeness, that sharpness, that kind of going cold or attacking energy, it can make people feel a false sense of power, right? And that's why it's like so necessary to not be impulsive. Don't be reactive. Give yourself the space. Be honest about where you're at. Just like you were saying, if you're feeling activated, like we were talking about earlier, give yourself a little space. Because what we see on the board here is that, yes, love is wanting to come in. These new beginnings are wanting to come in. But whether you'll receive them or not, all has to do with your level of willingness to be open to the experience. And in cases where you're revisiting matters, can you move through it in a new way? Can you have a different perspective? And most importantly, with heading into that Taurus North Node again, which is significant, we're heading into the Taurus North Node now that we're rising out of that Scorpio. And we're going to be doing that until July of 2023, at which point, wait for it, the nodes change again. The North Node destiny becomes Aries. The South Node becomes Libra.
Oh.
Okay. So this is what we're really stepping into. It's such a big relationship theme. And it's also about balancing the karma. It's about really stepping out of our karmic cycles. Okay. We learned our lessons, taking that and moving forward from that to rising up into that magician energy, the Aries energy, where now I can take the initiative. Now I know what I want to create. And the magician also alchemizes their experiences. They are not stuck in the past. They're not stuck on who wounded them. They transform that. They understand the wound is where the light gets in. Okay, so there's, like you're saying, there's just like such a need to have that accountability and to do the work. But it looks like if you can melt some of that resistance and take the space you need, this does look like there's a new beginning in love. It really does. And I feel like a lot of times, specifically with the cards that came up on the board, when I see the magician coming in with like the Nine of Swords and the Wheel of Fortune, these cards, and we had Judgment earlier too. These are all cards that when they come up together in combination on the board, they do symbolize like the resurrection of a situation that you thought, nope, this thing is dead and dusted. There's no way this thing can be revived. So I see that there is some connection that's really good for healing, but you can really screw it up if you're too guarded, if you're too much in your anger, if you're not willing to take your time, and you're not willing to hold space for the difficult communications. And so it's really up to you and how you play it. So this is pretty spicy, potent read, actually.
Yeah.
Real, and I think what's needed, right?
Agreed. Yeah. Well, this was great.
It was. It was. We went a while, but I enjoyed it, and hopefully Anthony will be able to make it next time. He did tell us that he might not be able to make it. His daughter is having a birthday this weekend, so he said I might not be able to make it. We said that's okay, and I think we had a good old time anyway. And thank you so much to all the people who dropped by. And thank you, Miss Lizzie, for dropping in with me and reading with me. I really enjoyed connecting with you in this way. It was really nice. We haven't been able to do an on the hedge for like a month and a half or something. It's nice. I always enjoy it. I always enjoy
so maybe we'll think of something for January for the new year.
Yeah,
for candle moss. Yeah.
I'd like to get on. I'd like to get back on it. Back on it. It's been a crazy year, but things are lightening up. Things are lightening up. We can make it happen. I always feel so good afterwards.
Same.
Oh, you are welcome. You are welcome. I love this. I love the feedback, and I love this too, that we can all like connect as a community and we can all like bring our experiences in. Hello, Chaylee. And the replay will remain up, okay? So you all can view this, tune in, watch it at your leisure. We did go for a while, so you might have to take doses. That's okay. I'm so happy you feel inspired. That's so wonderful, right?
That is beautiful, Tila. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you so much for everybody who participated. Your comments mean a lot, and just you choosing to spend your time with us means a lot. And I hope you have some tools to work with and that you're feeling a little bit more hopeful and empowered in doing what you need to do to take care of yourself this season. And also to know that you're not alone. There is a community here. There are, places where you can drop in with people and keep it real. And you're always welcome to drop in and keep it real with me and Strega Lizzie. So.
Same. Yep. I'm here. And I love you all so much. And I hope that whatever festivities you have, they are what you want to have and what you deserve to have, and that everything is as it should be and that nothing is as it shouldn't be. And I have a blessed Yule. May the coming of the sun fill you with the light that, again, you deserve. Because you do. You do deserve it.
Happy holidays, everybody. Thank you for dropping in.
Love you all.
See you soon on the hedge in January.
Yeah, January.